Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to talk about the new like thriller movie called Us, Jordan Peele's new creation and new like extension from Get Out. And honestly, my shirt right here, as usual, in a sense, it kind of gives a little bit of a a commemorative respect to the movie because it's Stranger Things. The only difference is Stranger Things is the upside down with, upside down and portals and etc. Versus Us is more of it's still governmental experimentation and whatever and conspiracy, but at the same time, it's more sci-fi scientific because it talks about more of the tethered, which are basically individuals or beings who are clones from the original people from the upside. Now, my thing is with just the whole movie is it was a good movie as a whole, pretty good movie as a whole, interesting as well too. I just didn't how should I say this? As a whole, I liked it. I would like to say I just like it as a whole, and it was pretty goddamn good. Now, if I had to say anything, it would be just that it was a combination of comedy and a little bit of thriller slash horror, which I feel it was a pretty good mixture of the two. Because by the end of the day, especially for this movie, I felt like a little bit of humor, especially from my boy M'Baku from Black Panther. Humor was really needed in the movie because, good lord, some parts were just goddamn creepy a little bit. It got me a little tripping out a little bit too, a little bit. Still got me a little bit tripping. There are times where I have to say that goddamn thing is fictional. And if I get to it in this video, I'm going to point out the biggest the biggest hole of how I can easily say that it's fictional. But let's begin to get deeper into it. Now, I think my favorite scene, if I had to say anything, would be just the first part of the movie where you have you have the Red family come out of nowhere out the boondocks, and then you had Red Adelaide talk about her backstory and just the tragedy of what she had to go through of being the shadow slash like yeah, the shadow or whatever per se, play on words, living in the underground versus the alley that's always in white and living on the normal side or the upside of the world in general, where it's like she can experience the wind and can experience the wilderness and stuff where Shadow Adelaide or Red Adelaide she couldn't do that because she was in the underground. Um, more deeper into it, I also want to point out some other points of the movie though, where if I had to say something, it would be just the differences between both the families. Because I would like to say the main character, I think they're the Wilsons. The main character is the Wilsons, the Black family. I would like to say I commemorate them and give more respect to them as a family unit. Not only as black people, but only because of the fact of when trouble was near and you had the tethered come out of nowhere, besides like our Adelaide per se knowing or feeling that her shadow counterpart was coming. It's just aside from that, they all banded together one way or the other to try and fight back or try to bond together as a family unit and make sure that everything was okay and etc. I will say that there were maybe a few steps involved in the situation where it was more favorable for the family to survive or more of a fighting chance. But aside from that, yeah, I would like to say that they were a better family unit than like the the upper middle class family, which was the white I forgot who that family was, but like the upper white class family, where they had a bigger vacation home that looked more modernized, and their whole house was basically a smart house because dude just said Siri in the intercom system or to like the house smart house itself, and Siri just activated either the lights or activated sound system, just different things. But when their tether counterparts came through, and I mean the whole tether part came through, whether it be their twin like daughters to basically the wife and fathers tether counterparts, they came in like it was ridiculous. They might admire everybody, especially the twins. I felt terribly bad for the twin sisters on how they went down. Like they were the first ones to go hypothetically before the parents. I mean, the dad went first, but then the twins went. I'm like, damn. Um, but yeah, like that's one thing I wanted to want to like point out is both families their family units and strengths are very much different. I would like to point that out as one thing to point out. Another thing I like to point out in my review would be just the fact that how should I say this? Honestly, it seemed like the Tether family they not only mimicked certain things that the original copies went through in their lifestyle and on the top side of things, but there are also very much differences with each side of the family, which I would like to talk about. Which I would like to talk about as well too. Mainly the Wilsons. The father, and I would call him my boy Mbaku because Jabari tribe. Yep, Jabari tribe every day. Mbaku's like, and Baku is like my spirit animal. But yeah, Baku's counterpart, compared to him, he's more serious and more aggressive. And dude just had kind of had no mercy on. I mean, he was docile a little bit, but he still had no mercy nor no like compassion with the whole situation. He just wanted things to get done and wanted things to be executed. Adelaide's counterpart, I would like to say now they are very much the kicker of everything. I feel like they're the most high biggest phenomena of the whole movie. I would like to say that twists everything about it and puts everything on its head because they're very interesting to me mentally and thinking about them and their whole anatomy and their representations in the movie. But I'll get to that more in a little bit. But yeah, both of the Alley twins, it seemed like their counterparts, they're very much similar or the same. The only difference is just one is aggressive and the other one is more still aggressive, but at the same time a little bit compassionate at the same time, which I very much respect when it comes to, the one who's more like compassionate and caring. Even though one or the other is twisted, I very much like respect compassion a little bit. Um, when it comes to the children, Jason and Zora, Jason's counterpart to him, they now Jason, he's a talk of the town. I see off of all of like social media lately. All I can say about him is he's another individual who's a very interesting thing when it comes to two counterparts. But arguably, as usual, just like Adelaide, one count, well, both counterparts are very similar. Both have like an aggressive side, but then at the same time, compassionate, or in Jason's case, docile and chill a little bit, unless told to be aggressive or plan to be aggressive per se in the situation. Zora, Zora, I would like to say when it comes to her counterpart and when it comes to her light side or top side version, the original copy, there's very much big differences. Zora, I would like to say that just like her father, has big differences with his counterpart, M'Baku. Um, I would like to say Zora's counterpart, just like her father, would be just her counterpart seemed like she can be a little dark, I assume, or feel a little bit, and can be aggressive, along with being playful to some degree, just like how Zora's father is, which I'll call my boy M'Baku in this video because again, Wakanda forever. I respect him for that. But yeah, it's those things. Yeah, it's mainly those things that I like to say about the movie. If I had to say anything else, it would be just honestly what made it interesting to me was just the fact that honestly it's their the Will the Wilsons counterparts and their differences because the father and daughter their counterparts are very much different from them. But when it comes to mother and son, they're very much different in some ways, but very much similar in some other ways. It's like you saying that you can flip a coin, but you're still on, no matter how much you flip it, you still are the same way or on the same side of the same coin when it comes to mother and son versus the daughter and father. They're more different when it comes to their counterparts. If I get more in depth into it, it's, well, here's a good example. Pluto versus Jason. When it comes to that situation, when it comes to part two of the movie, or the middle part of the movie, Pluto had a trap where he cut up the gas line to the car or cut some type of part of the car beneath it where you can see visible gas dripping, and he had like a match on him or a lighter and was ready to spark something up, but he kind of refrained from doing it. He had the moment and he had the chance to do it, but he didn't do it. He just was playful and docile and chill. That's why I would like to say that he can be aggressive, but at the same time very chill or docile at the same time. Same thing with the original Jason. Our original Jason or topside Jason can be aggressive if he wants to be, and at the same time very unique, just like this dark side version or red version of him. Some people argue that topside Jason is a clone. I say I say that that's very much arguable, but when it comes to my side of things, of just bashing these whole theories, it's just hypothetically, I would just like to say it does not matter. To this point, it kind of doesn't. In the movie, it kind of doesn't matter because by the end of the day, either both sides, when it comes to the children, are half like under underworlders or underground clones, or there's some there's some type of reputation of an underground clone through different types of genes. And let me explain how. In the beginning to the end of the movie, you basically learn that Adelaide was switched with her doppelganger in the mirror, like carnival ride thing when it comes to when it was called Find Yourself Quest or whatever before it was turned into Merlin's Forest Find Yourself or whatever. Um, Now when that happened, when Adelaide was switched, that's when I would like to say when it comes to present time when we learn the Williams family as a whole, that's when I would like to say when it comes to the offspring, either way, topside or underground clones, they're both sides of the children. I would kind of confidently say one or the other, they're a representation of clones or have some type of clone genes in them. Because until we get more clarification, and I very much doubt everybody probably doubt this because M'Baku's personality is very unique, and he didn't even know what was going on with that beach when he said, "Why don't we go to the beach or whatever?" He didn't know about that place unless they make a second movie that talks about more about the family and talks more about different things a about the backstory of that beach and everything else. I would like to say M'Baku didn't know nothing, and he's just his own person. So yeah, when it comes to topside children, long story short, they're half clones only because our Adelaide is basically the clone Adelaide that switched with the original. And then when it comes to Red Adelaide, she's the one she's the Adelaide that I would like to say that yes, she's the original, but she still ended up um in the underground clone territory chained up as a child and just forced to stay underground for a long period of time. And as her backstory says in the beginning, that when her prince slash M'Baku came through, I still gonna call him M'Baku. I don't care who says what. I'm gonna call him M'Baku. But when he rolls up, that's when her counterpart, which is her clone, came through and like basically cuffed Adelaide, like Red Adelaide, and had children. So, long story short, clone top Adelaide had her own children, which is Jason and Zora, while Red Adelaide, which is the original, she had her children, which is Pluto and Zora. Which even though Red Adelaide is the original, technically by genes when it comes to the father, until we know more, which I don't think there's more to elaborate here. Um, the the clone father original, it seemed like he was a pure clone by how his personality traits is and how he is as a character and etc. It seemed like he was more of a clone. So you have clone gene. Basically, long story short, if one parent has clone genes and the other one has just normal original genes or original copy genes, long story short, you can just say to yourself that all the goddamn kids are are just clones or half clones, with all due respect. And if I had to talk about more about the movie, it'll be just long story short. I guess if I had to point out something on how I knew about Adelaide being which Adelaide was the real Adelaide, it'll be just two symbolisms, and Jason picked it up too. Well, top Jason picked it up. When it comes to the white tethered family fight, basically when um our fake or copy or clone Adelaide basically was fighting with the white tethered family and killed off one. She made a unique, distinct noise when killing off of one of them and was very aggressive until she really knew that she took her out permanently. And another example of this would be well, this is more symbolicism, just like how Red Adelaide pointing out that she learned how to dance. It's kind of messed up poetry in a sense on how this happened. But if you noticed, when both of them was fighting against each other, Red Adelaide versus the original, one kept fighting in the dark, which would be clone Adelaide with the with the fireplace pointer, while the other one, which is the red Adelaide, she kept fighting in the light when there was light to be emitted around them. Another poetic example, even though it's messed up poetry, would be just clone Dark Adelaide when she killed off like the original Red Adelaide. Basically, Red original Adelaide got killed off under this one light that was in a very dark room in one of the like clone bunkers in the underground. Out of a whole dark room, only one light was on, and Red Adelaide was killed under that light. And and when you see that fight scene like happen, and then top clone Adelaide killed off Red Adelaide, her face. Now I know she's a dark skinned sister, but if you could see her face though when she killed off Red Adelaide, she looked very aggressive, while at the same a little too happy, a little bit too aggressive. And on top of that, it's just her face went really dark in the shadows when she killed off like Red Adelaide. That's when I would like to. That's the fight is another example of how I knew which one was which, because by the end of the day, sometimes you can just see little nods or symbolicism in small things such as areas around you when you see something is right or something is wrong. Kind of like with these theorists, for another good example, with the whole Jason with the whole topside Jason theory of what if topside Jason is a clone too? Because of like that one scene at the beach when both families were communing with each other. When the white twins asked him, "What are you building? You're not building a sandcastle." Then he was like, "I'm just building a tunnel, a sand tunnel, or whatever." And people just point out that's strange and weird. That means that you're kind of targeted as a tethered. My thing is, and my thing is, long story short, I feel like, look, the kid's just basically different. That, and on top of that, it's just in the Wilson's family, you can't per se no, say that one person is a clone while the other one is the original copy, because by the end of the day, one or the other, each one of them have some type of representation of clone DNA in them. Not 100%, but just some clone DNA in them. Now, this last statement I would like to say about the whole movie would be just the message. The message I saw in the movie was just that don't take for granted what you have, long story short, because Red Adelaide pointed out that the underground, you can't feel nature and you can't feel any experiences in the top side, nor you cannot, do certain things or celebrate certain things as the same capacity as the topside people. It's very basically it's very low class, and it's kind of in poverty in a sense for the most part, or to a degree, because they're nothing but clones. And when the tethered project was kind of forgotten and shut down, they all the clones were forgotten, even though they don't have any souls. They still are representation of people and humans. So long story short, it's kind of like a sad situation. But yeah, that's my whole talk in conclusion. My whole talk about like the review on the Us movie itself. Overall, I'll give it a 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 for the most part. But yeah, 10 out of 10 when it comes to the enjoyment value of everything. I'm most likely going to probably make 2 more videos about this movie. One being like one theory about Pale's like imagination and what I could see what he could do with that said imagination. And the other one would probably be just my small quips and small comments about the very end of the movie and the very ending when you stay in a movie theater and you look at the very end of the movie. But please subscribe if you liked my videos, and please leave a like and leave comments if you watched this video. Thank you. Bye.